Hello and welcome to another Player Bliss board game channel video, and I'm joined today by Robert and I'm Daniel, and today we're going to be looking at Time Barons. Now, Time Barons was originally a print and play game released about 4 or 5 years ago, and is last year got a retail release from WizKids. It was originally a 2-player game. They've added a lot more game modes to it, so it'd be interesting to see how the actual retail release is.
Yes, and this is a game made by John Perry and Derek Yu, and the name Derek Yu jumped out to me as soon as Dan said it as someone I recognised, and that's because he made Spelunky, which is a really famous sort of indie video game from a few years back. And the weird thing about this is that on the box there's not even any mention of that he is that guy, and I don't suppose that many people would know who he was, but it's strange that a well-known game designer hasn't sort of plastered his name all over the box. So
yeah, I'd never heard of Spelunky, but everyone I said it to was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so,
modesty points.
Modesty points. We're going to now quickly jump to how to play from Ben, and he'll teach you very roughly how to play the game, and then we'll get on to our critical analysis.
Good luck, Ben.
Good luck, Ben.
Time Barons can be played either in teams or as a free-for-all. For the purposes of these rules, we'll be looking at a standard 4-player game with 2 teams. Starting hands are dealt to players, and each player also receives 10 population in their capital. Each turn a player has some basic actions. Players can draw a card of their level, gain a population from the supply, or relocate existing population to another card. Players can also upgrade their level by paying an upgrade cost in actions, which allows them to draw more powerful cards. To gain more advanced abilities, you'll build sites by paying the action cost on the card. These abilities can be used once per turn per card, providing you have the population amount indicated by the white circles on the ability. These abilities are normally free and don't count towards your limit. Some of the more powerful abilities do require you to spend a certain number of actions. Many abilities also let you attack opponents' sites. When you attack a site, you place a damage token and kill a population on that site. Once the damage tokens equal or exceed the site's integrity, that site and all population on it is destroyed. Along with sites, you can also play attachments, which will improve or degrade sites, and one-off event and reaction cards. The aim of the game is to either eliminate all population from one player of the opposite team, or be the team with the highest combined population when only one card stack remains.
So that was a quick run through of how to play Time Barons. So we're going to jump now talking about whether or not we thought the game was fun. I'll ask you this question first, Dan. What did you most enjoy about playing Time Barons?
Well, Time Barons is a really old one for me because it did not stand out on a shelf. We have a shelf of games that we're going to review, and we picked them at pretty much what appeals to us. And Time Barons, it looked a bit plain.
There's a thing with board games that I've noticed a lot, that not only do the boxes sometimes not sell the game very well, but they don't even have much to do with the art style of the game itself. Like, I know it sort of vaguely does, but like, it's just a big like old style alarm clock, right? It doesn't really sell conflict.
No, it doesn't. I did like the theme though. The theme is meant to be about the sort of Illuminati style person that's controlling this humanity and trying to get them to do its bidding to try to lead to only being one of them. Cool theme, so that's why I think ultimately we played it. And I must say,
You stopped us playing multiple times to say how much fun you were having.
yeah, I'm trying not to give it away too quickly. It's a really bloody good game.
Yeah, Dan could not stop saying that he was. I mean, I couldn't either. Dan was doing a bit more. Just you get into it and you get into the flow of the game really, really quickly.
I think the game also managed really, really well to push across that theme. Now, initially I thought, is it going to be able to do it with the actual populations represented by very plain blue tokens? Yeah. And yet when we was playing the games, I did sort of feel like they were my population. I was moving around and you know, when my card was destroyed, I was losing masses of my population, etc. And that took me by surprise as well, because I don't know if that's conveyed because of the artwork on the cards, or it's the general sort of mechanics of the game that pushed that theme, because it's not the pieces.
I haven't made you any better though, I'm afraid, bro. You're still in big troubles.
I'm in big troubles, but it's alright, I'm going to draw a card. And I'll draw this last lucky card.
Oh man,
That's
now I
good.
have to move.
Okay.
Okay, you win.
Excellent news.
Can't use it in a moment, but this is not bad.
Okay, you've still got 2 actions.
Talking mechanically then.
Yes.
Theme, very good. Artwork, lovely.
Artwork is fantastic. It's got that sort of two-tone 80s style to it.
Yeah, it's hard to pin down like exactly what it reminds me of. I guess like sort of like Game Boy style in terms of the two colours, but not in terms of the detail. The way that the different cards use colour is also really impressive.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I really need in a game like this is when it's a game that involves you having to keep an eye on what everyone else is doing, to be able to quickly glance at that table and understand. And because of the way they use the colours on the cards to represent the different types of card, it's a very good game for just taking a quick glance and getting a full comprehension of what's happening. And usually what is happening is we're winning. We won.
Yeah, we did. We won once and we lost once, actually. But the first time we lost, we didn't know the full rules.
No,
so it wasn't really a loss. We played in a team game with most of the time with 2v2, which was awesome. It's got a few small team mechanics. Considering this used to just be a two-player game,
Yeah.
It feels like they've put a real amount of effort into a team game and making it work. So you can relocate your population between each other's towns, which is really, really helpful. You can even change cards around. So if you have a vague idea of what's coming up, or you're scared that maybe one of you has overextended themselves, got too many sites and not enough population, you can help them out.
I'm going to do 3 to get rid of his fault.
Yeah, the fault makes the most sense.
Because
Yeah.
you've got people in there as well.
We're on a team.
No, we're not, Ben.
You're
No,
not.
we're on a team.
We're on a team.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I thought it was us versus you.
No.
I was about to mess you up.
The game expressly says anything you say has to be said out loud, so you can't sit there texting Rob and saying, by the way, I have this card. But that also makes it a fun mechanic, because I could be saying to Rob, no, don't do that. I'll have another card that I'll be able to do it better at.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give them enough information, but it also tells Robert that he probably should do a different move. And that's really, really fun, because it has that sense of you're trying to listen into the conversations to get an idea of the other team's plans.
I was really impressed by the how quickly turns went as well.
Yes.
You think with a game that like this, even with card games, especially like the bigger, bulkier tactical card games like Legends of the Five Rings and Netrunner, turns can take forever. So having a 4-player game was going to take ages. And then you look at the fact you have 3 actions per turn, and I was worried that it was going to be a half an hour long turn each time. Actually, the turns take a minute.
Yeah, if that.
Even with like a bunch of abilities, a handful of cards. There are 3 things you can do, but they're quite limited in scope. They're really important decisions that you make, but there's not so many of them that you get overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that's, we played with Ben, and Ben at the office is the slowest player in any game. If anyone's going to get analysis paralysis, it's Ben.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He still could play in a relatively quick
It was a
pace.
very well flowing game, which I think was so crucial to it being good.
Yes.
Because if it had that sitting around waiting for 3 minutes each time, because you can't. There are a few cards that let you do stuff outside of your go. There's these cards, reaction cards, that let you do stuff outside of your specific turn. But I think if it had been longer and you would have been sitting there thinking, oh, I'm waiting for my go, it wouldn't have worked anywhere near as well. It sort of compares itself to like a multiplayer video game, doesn't it?
Yeah, as we was playing it, I was thinking, if there was ever to make an Age of Empires game, a card game, and not actually, they have made an Age of Empires game, and we do have it, stay tuned to that video, but this is what it should be like. It has the progression of the ages perfectly. It has that whole sense that you can rush. So you could choose to go from the first age to the last age really quickly, but at the expense of then not having a base.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of risk and reward from it. It has a lot of that RTS of...
It is very similar to a real-time strategy game. Even in like managing economy versus managing military. And although there isn't effectively an economy in this game, if you imagine there's no resources other than population and damage which you'll take. But you have an economy in the sense of the free actions. So a lot of the sites you place down are going to give you actions that you can just do, like gain an extra population or move for free or attack an opponent's city. And most of those cards, unless they're really, really powerful, don't count as one of your free actions. So you just do those things before you even start taking your turn, which is a great feeling when you have a ton of them and you're like, okay, I'm going to attack you for this, I'm going to get an extra population, I'm going to have this bonus, and then I'm going to start having my go.
Yeah.
Still really quick, but really satisfying when you have a chain of those moving forwards.
Yeah.
Can't do anything super great now. So, but I've still got 2 goes. I'm going to draw a card. Oh.
I think you might be happy.
Altogether then, let's summarise, because I really could talk about this game for perhaps too long. What do you think then?
suppose-
I'm going to ask you to summarise your thoughts.
I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not more popular than it is. Maybe because it was a print and play game and everyone played it that was really interested in it back then, but that would have turned off the majority of people that were looking for a full release. Maybe it took too long to get there. Because, this is a game that I think it's definitely one of the best card games I've played for a long time. Lots of replayability as well, because we didn't use like all the cards. There's at least another third of the deck in each game that you don't have to use. So I can see it being fun in any different amount of groups. Like if I was to say the one kind of people that I wouldn't recommend it to, it's just people that don't like that sort of aggression in games, because you're straight up attacking. And the way you win is you constantly whittle down your opponents. You're constantly fighting them. You're never like, you can't just go economy and have a fun time building a base.
You can't lineage your empires either, though.
Not really, no. Not if you want to win the game.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would echo your thoughts pretty much exactly.
Cop out.
Well, my other thoughts are, I really, really like this game. Now, it's one of the best games for me that I've played in the last year. It has, the pacing is just perfect. The game didn't drag on for too long. I love the simplicity of the gameplay while having the complexity of the strategy involved.
Yeah, if you look at something like, when we sat down and we played Scythe for like 6 hours. And like, in terms of a strategic game, it has more options, but I don't think it really has more depth than Time Barons. Like, I certainly had more fun with Time Barons because it lasted for half an hour. We played 3 games in like an hour, and that was our learning time.
Part of the reason we don't have the game here at the moment is it's gone to the cafe, which makes me really, really sad.
Yeah, I was going to let Jamie play it today, but he's not going to get to.
No, it's a fantastic game. So instead, Jamie can watch this video while he's editing it and realise what a great game he
Pretend he's playing it.
Yeah. So, Rob, all important question. Essential?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I meant to go through them to be a bit of suspense.
Nah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, we just spent 20 minutes saying how great it was.
I'm going to ask you then, before we end, think of something bad about it.
I did. I thought, it's not a perfect game for Take That averse people, but that's
It's not really anything bad about a game.
it's something bad. I really can't think of.
Yeah, it kind of needs to be an essential.
Yeah, like there's no way I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, really.
Yeah, so Time Barons.
Well done.
Essential. We've got a whole it's editing.
I don't want to get out of frame.
Yeah. Perfect. So that was our video. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, or dislike if you hate us.
And comment.
And comment. I forgot comment.
There's only 3 things that you have to say.
I don't say dislike normally, do you?
You don't normally say don't like us. No.
It's my low self-esteem. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back with more videos very soon.
Bye bye.